Welcome to the lecture 4 of the optimization course. In this lecture, we will cover some important concepts, mainly notations, and also discuss the different types of optimization problems, or in other words, classification of optimization problem. And the idea behind this is essentially to cover the set of optimization problems that are there, to introduce you to the set of notations that are typically seen in the optimization books or in the optimization literature, and make you aware of all those possibilities. So let's move on and let's begin first of all with the definition of the optimization problem. So what is an optimization problem and how do you define the optimization problem? Now, based upon our previous 3 lectures, I think you have got some intuitive ideas behind how the optimization framework works. So let's take that intuitive aspect and try to define the optimization problem. Now, an optimization problem is essentially a problem in which certain variables or parameters needs to be determined to achieve the best measurable performance, right? And this is the key. The goal is to obtain the best, which might be minimal or which might be maxima, depending upon the whether we want to minimize the objective function or whether we want to maximize the objective function. Okay, under given constraints, right? So you only will not have the objective function, but sometimes you might also have a set of constraint which is pertinent with respect to that problem, and respecting that constraint and simultaneously achieving the best measurable performance is the goal of any optimization problem. And that's what we have formulated in last couple of classes, and that's what is going to be the focus of this whole course. So with that, let's move on to some simple notations that you can see in the optimization books and in optimization literature. Okay. So typically, there are two types of notations that are used in optimization frameworks. One is based upon vector format and the second is based on indices format. And I will be interchangeably using these two format, and in different books, if you read books from different authors, author might favor a vector format, or the another author might favor the indices format, but the optimization problem does not change. And I think it is a good idea to know both this format, so that if you encounter and see this format, you should be able to understand what class of that problem is. Okay, and that's the key reasoning behind this notation lecture, where we want to see all the possible notations that exist in optimization literature. Okay. So first, in vector format, you have obviously vector x, which is n dimension, or you can take a transpose where xj is the jth component of a vector. And this you will see that typically your optimization variable, right, optimization vector is going to be n dimensional vector. Okay, and this is what this is the variable of the problem that you are trying to optimize for, right? So typically that is denoted by this x vector in optimization framework. Okay. Same thing when written in the indices format. Rather than taking a vector, you can take the individual element and you can index them using indices, and you can write, basically xi is equal to 1 to n, right? So that is essentially representing this vector, but this is a slightly different word of writing. And this format where you index and you create this I index to x, where I goes from 1 to n, represent the index format, and it essentially represents the same information that you have in the vector format. And again, this is also the variables in optimization problem, right? So these are the variables that we'll be optimizing for. Okay, so that's the important distinction. Vector format and indices format, you write the same thing in slightly different ways. one of the things that you will commonly see in optimization problem is the use of the summation notation. So I want to quickly discuss that. You know, essentially you will have a scalar which will be represented as some multiplication of different variables x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, and you know, writing this in a shorthand might be useful, and that's why the summation notation, and that's where the summation notation comes into picture. So you can write this simply as the summation I goes from 1 to n xi yi, and this is the index format, right? So if I take this, right, and expand, for I equal to 1, the first component will be x1 and y, because the I is 1, okay. Summation means plus. When I goes to 2, this means x2, y2. I goes to 3, this is x3, y3, so on till xn, yn. That's the notation. Okay, so that's the, so you can write this whole equation in a, you know, abbreviated form using the summation notation. That's what they're, right. Now the summation notation is with respect to the, in the context of our representation, is basically an index wise notation, right. So you are using indexes I, xi, yi, and that's what is used in the summation. You can write the same equation in the vector form as vector x transpose multiplied by vector y, and that essentially also results in exactly this equation. So let's see how that results and quickly go through that computation too, so that you can see that it doesn't matter whether you use indices notation or whether you use vector notation, essentially it's going to lead to same formulas. So if I take x transpose, right, this is the x transpose, and if I multiply that by y vector, which is basically of n dimension, we have this. So if you take these two vector, the first element multiplied by y, that will be x plus x1 y y1, and then the second multiplied by y2, so x2 y2, and so on. So that will also result exactly in the same equation. So either you can use this notation, summation notation, which is the index format of writing this equation, or you can use a vector version of the equation, and that also exactly represent this equation that is on the top. And again, you will see in many linear problems, right, in linear programming problems, there typically you will have you know, summation notation, or constraints which are linear, then there are a lot of uses of the summation notation in those class of problems too.